Hello, not your everyday MMA fans. Welcome to episode 21 of the Not Your Everyday MMA podcast. I'm Alex Henry and I'm with Tori Haverl, and we got some UFC to talk about because it's UFC pay-per-view week, Tori, and we got, I wouldn't say it's the most stacked card I've ever seen. I would say, there's maybe a couple good fights this Saturday, wouldn't you say? When you say
I
there's
think this
a
might
couple.
be the most excited I have ever been for pay-per-view as a fan in like a fat minute in a while. Because are you kidding me? Dude, this is the heavyweight championship. I would pay $80 just to see the main event. Like I would. Like if every other fight got canceled, I would. We have John Jones, the return of Johnny Bones Jones against Ciryl Gane. That is insane. I am so excited.
In case you guys didn't get my sarcasm, that was all sarcasm. I mean, this card is stacked from bottom to top, and we're going to talk about it, give all of our breakdowns, all of our predictions. But before we get to that, we got some news to catch up on. Number one, Erin Blanchfield, second round submission versus Jessica Andrade. What do you think about that, Tori?
I was in shock. I was so confident in my pick. I just kind of thought Jessica Andrade was not necessarily going to run through her, but like kind of run through her. Wow, she proved me wrong. And she was even keeping up with Andrade on the feet. She was picking her apart. And yeah, that second round she caught her, and it was, I was kind of sad because I do want to see Andrade. I'm a fan of her because she looked so unstoppable in her last fight. I was so confident in her, but it could have been a short-term notice. But wow, Erin Blanchfield, she's definitely something to look out for.
Yeah, she is. I mean, holy crap, and did she prove herself to be a contender, right? Like, wow, beating Jessica Andrade the way that you did. Very, very impressive win for her. I thought it was kind of funny. Shevchenko was kind of like, yeah, I would destroy her. But that's what we said about Jessica Andrade. We said she was going to destroy Erin Blanchfield. And we'll talk about Shevchenko later on because she is fighting in the co-main. By the way, I saw that Valentina Shevchenko has only ever main evented one pay-per-view in her entire career, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me because the one female main event we've seen this year was Amanda Nunes, or like recently at all.
It was with Amanda Nunes. That was the fight. It was her versus Amanda. So it's kind of interesting. If that's true, which I'm pretty sure it is. Some other fights that are getting targeted right now. Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo. UFC 288 May 6th.
Crazy. That fight, I didn't really think it would happen. It was like the John Jones fight, It's one of those things where you're like, oh, like they're talking about it. Like, are they going to come back? Like, I don't really know. I don't think so. Then they do, and you're like, oh, wow. Like, I'm going to get to see Henry Cejudo fight? Like, oh my gosh. I'm excited to see that one.
Now,
it's going to be fun.
Unlike John Jones, I'm not sure about this guy, Henry. I mean, I even saw him in person acting a drunk, let alone when I see just how he acts on media, like in social media. So, like, if Henry's able to come back, turn around, and he's been training hard with John Jones, so maybe he is on that turnaround. I mean, talk about an elite level bantamweight wrestling match. Never see that. You never see it. Bantamweights, these guys just like to strike and strike and strike. Even if they are wrestlers, they just like to get you on the ground and strike. So, I mean, that's going to truly be a great match if Henry's where he needs to be mentally.
Yeah. And I think I am actually this might be like controversial, but I respect Henry a lot because of if you watch his YouTube breakdowns of fights, this man is so knowledgeable about the sport. It is crazy. He is so smart. When it comes to just breaking down these fights and saying what they should have done. And he's right. And a lot of fighters are like, yeah, that's right. And that's why you see so many fighters going to his camp and going to his gym and working with him, because this man, who knows if it's going to transcend back to the octagon, all of his knowledge, or maybe he's just better as a coach. But I think, I don't know. He is amazing fight IQ. So I'm excited to see him back in the octagon.
Yeah, Henry Cejudo, arguably the best bantamweight of all time. Hopefully making his way back versus Aljamain Sterling for the belt. A fight that did get confirmed. Charles the Bronx Oliveira taking on Beneil Dariush. I'll go first, Tori. I'm excited for this fight. I remember last time we talked about Beneil, I said he's the dark horse of the division. Let my boy shine. And this is a chance for him to really, really prove himself versus a good a good competitor in Charles. And I know Charles is going to have a lot of vengeance in that fight. He's going to be fighting with a lot. You know, a lot of people have a lot of doubts about him. So, you know, he wants to definitely prove those guys wrong. But for Beneil, he's also got a lot to fight for. Like, he's trying to prove himself. People do not think he's all that good. Therefore, dark horse of the division. So it's versus a guy who's got to prove he's still relevant. He's still a title contender versus a guy who's just trying to prove to everybody, hey, I am a title contender. So, I mean, that's really interesting. Usually in a contender fight, and I'm not saying the winner of this fight gets Islam, but usually in a contender fight, both guys, you could say, well, he could be champ or he could be champ. This one, it's like they're both trying to prove that they still deserve that shot. So I'm pretty excited for this fight. And that's coming from somebody who's not really even a Charles fan. And I'm kind of excited to watch Charles fight. I'm not going to lie.
I'm so excited for this fight. Something that does worry me a little bit is the hunger gone for Charles Oliveira, because he's already been there and been champion, and Beneil's on this long win streak, and he didn't even have to take this Oliveira fight. He should have just gotten the title shot, but he did. He took it. And I'm also a fan of Beneil Dariush because he trains where I live. Like, he's an all-around cool guy, nothing but good things to say about him. But that does scare me a little bit. Does he have the same hunger as Beneil? Because Beneil hasn't gotten that shot yet. He hasn't been at the top yet. But also that could ignite the fire in Charles, saying, I want to be back there. I want to prove the world I am the best. And so, yeah, I'm very excited. I think it's going to be, I want it to be a high level grappling match. I really do. I think that's going to be very, very interesting, because that's obviously what they're more known for. And I think, I don't know, I don't want to make an early prediction, but it's going to be very competitive on the ground, but on the feet, I definitely think Charles is going to have a huge advantage. And I think even Charles might be kind of wanting to keep it standing up because of how good Beneil's BJJ is and how good Charles' striking is. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for this fight. And that would be 2 fights on UFC 288. Well, one fight's already confirmed, that other bout being targeted right now. I guarantee you, if that fight's going to happen within the next week, it will be confirmed. They're waiting after this event. They'll get some hype up before Usman and Edwards, which is literally this month as well.
Yeah.
Like within a couple
weeks. That is insane. Yes, I forget about that, and that is crazy.
We're going back to back here. That is crazy. But Tori, enough of the future, enough of the past. Let's get to the present. UFC 285 is this weekend, and there's a lot of good fights, and we're going to start with the prelims. Tori, I'll let you go first. Julian Marquez taking on Marc-Andre.
Barriault.
I like it. Sounds good.
Alrighty, so first off, you're going to have Julian Marquez, who is 9-3-0. He has a very fun fighting style. He is coming off of a loss. He's good grappling and submissions, decent wrestling. He has 9 finishes out of 9 victories, which is crazy. He has good speed. He's a very well-rounded guy. He's also tough, throws heavy shots, but can slow down towards the end of the fight if he is being a little too active at the beginning. Then you have Barriault, who is 14-6-0, coming off of a loss as well. He has a good physique. I just wrote that down because, like, he looks athletic. Who knows? Right. Good kickboxing fighter. Good, well-rounded fighter overall. Okay takedowns, decent Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He is a pressure fighter. He does have good volume within his strikes. He's dangerous, but does not have a whole lot of power. And to be honest, Marc-Andre is not the best fighter we have ever seen inside the UFC. He is very coming from, I don't even fight, but just not the best that we've seen. And so just because Marquez is incredibly, incredibly dangerous and definitely does have that knockout power, as you can tell by his record, I'm going Marquez, and I'm going by knockout, and I'm going to say like round 1 or round 2 in the early within the fight.
Yeah, this is a really good fight, and I would say there's a lot of fights on here that are kind of obvious. Between the entire card, we're not talking about the early prelims, or even a guy like Ian Gary on the early prelims. There's a lot of obvious fights. This one is not. It's a little closer, and I think you got a really good breakdown. I would even say Julian Marquez is a big dude. I mean, if you see a picture of him, his I think these are traps or your shoulders, but they're like he has that that wrestler neck. And I mean, he is well-rounded, so he has decent wrestling, so I guess that makes sense. But he's really known for his power. But not only his power, he gets a lot of submission wins.
Yeah.
So he's decent on the ground, and that just goes to how well-rounded he is. And honestly, it's the same story for Marc-Andre. I mean, he's a pretty good striker. He's got good boxing, good kicks. He moves forward well, he moves his head well, but sometimes he's more low output. And I don't think he's stronger than Julian Marquez. So I think Julian's a stronger guy. I think he's probably the more well-rounded guy, but that's really tight to say. I'm gonna agree with you though, Tori. I'm gonna go with Julian Marquez to open up the night, and that'll be a really good fight.
Perfect.
I think.
Yeah, it is for sure. I'm surprised that that's not on the early prelims, or that, I mean, Ian Gary is on the early prelims and this is not.
Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, literally from that fight up, there's not a bad fight.
No.
From Ian Gary up,
even
there's not a bad.
This fight could, when the next one, could 1000% be on the main card,
100%.
or a fight night main event. I'm surprised it's on the prelims, but anyways.
What fight do you have next, Tori?
Women flyweight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, great fight. Viviane Araujo taking Amanda Ribas. Great fight. Love this fight. Vivi, one of my favorite female fighters. Good grappler, averages a little over 2 takedowns a fight, decent striking. Her kind of style, I watched and I noticed it's the same in a lot of fights, is she'll start low, she'll be kicking at your legs, work her way up, and then she'll start throwing at your head. And just when you're worried about your head, she takes you down low because your legs are already weak. It's a real good strategy. It's actually kind of like a Jon Jones sort of strategy, which you'll see later on.
Yeah.
But no, it's really good. I really like Viviane. Amanda, great grappler, and she learned how to strike. She also averages a little over 2 takedowns a fight, and both fighters are very good. They're very similar. I definitely see this fight going the distance. Maybe a submission by either, but I'm gonna go with Viviane here. I know she is the underdog, or she was the underdog at one point this week. I don't know if she is anymore, but I like her because I think she's bigger. I think she's going to be a little stronger. And in a 3-round fight, if that goes to decision, I think she'll be able to be the better fighter in the end. So I am going to go with Viviane here.
I agree. I do agree. This was a hard fight to pick because they are so similar in so many different aspects. Viviane is good, has good technical boxing, good low kicks. She has very tight, crisp strike. She is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is both of them are. So I mean,
yeah, they're both from like Brazil. So
yeah, they're both black belts, so we could definitely get a high level grappling match, which would be very interesting. She has power in her punches. She has decent ground game, but she doesn't hold a lot of pressure on the ground. Amanda Ribas. She is going to use her long reach to her advantage. She is powerful. She can leave openings when she throws because she does overextend, and that can give Viviane the advantage to kind of find openings within her guard. And Ribas does have good judo as well, as she transitions from her feet to the mat. Good, but I just think I think Viviane is going to have the advantage on the feet, and I think she's just and I overall think she's going to be able to withstand, because I think she's quicker. Overall, she's quicker and she's more technical. And I think I think she's going to pick her apart. And I think it is going to go to decision. And I think it's going to be a very, very close fight. I kind of had to flip a coin for this one, but I'm going to go Viviane as well.
Yeah, I like Viviane here. I do think my one worry with her might be her cardio. I do think she's fast. I do think she throws good, but she is older, and I think she's significantly older in this fight. Like, I think she's 36 and Amanda's like 20 something. So it's definitely a gap between age. But not necessarily that she has more experience either. I mean, their records are very similar. But if I did have to worry about Viviane, I would say her cardio. But I still think, I mean, she wins round 1, she wins round 2. She can go out and lose round 3 and still win that fight more than likely. So, yeah, we both agree with Viviane.
Perfect. I mean, the next fight I am actually very excited for. We are seeing Derek Brunson finally return to the octagon versus Dricus du Plessis. I think that's how you say it. And he's making a quick turnaround because he just fought, was it December?
Not all that long ago.
December, right? Yeah. Not long ago at all. So yeah, Brunson, we all know Derek Brunson. He is a classic veteran, has kind of fought everyone in the game. He is 23-8-0. He's coming off of that brutal knockout loss to Cannonier. I thought he was dead. for a second. Has fought the best of the best. He's a great wrestler. When the fight hits the floor, he has control and good ground and pound. Decent striking, good power, but not great striking defense. Can tend to kind of hang his hands low and just kind of get sloppy when it comes to defending strikes. And then you have Du Plessis, who is 18-0. He's on a 4-fight win streak, has finished all his opponents by knockout or submission, holds a lot of power, can grapple when he needs to, well-rounded fighter overall, good timing and accuracy with his shots, and he's a new contender within the division.
Mhm.
And right away when I saw this fight, I immediately thought Dricus is going to win, and I'm pretty confident. I'm saying he's winning by knockout. I think Brunson is kind of getting, as he gets older, he's getting weaker, and his chin's getting weaker, as we saw last time. And I kind of see Brunson chain wrestling, constantly going for a takedown, and I can see Drake is just kind of catching him on one of those attempts and just nailing him. And that's what I see going on there.
Yeah, Tori, I mean, you might remember my rule. If nobody's ever heard my rule before, I'll remind them. If you're 10 years younger, you might win. You might just win. And that's the case here. I mean, Blonde Brunson, my boy Blonde Brunson, he's back, right? And he got mauled by Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier, I've said this multiple times since I became a UFC fan, that was one of the more violent knockouts I've ever watched in my life, because the ref kind of took a while to stop it, and he's just hitting him while he's unconscious. I mean, and you know, Jared Cannonier is not the kind of guy you want to be getting just punched in the head by.
Not at all.
But no, I mean, Blonde Brunson, you kind of broke him down. Well, he's a wrestler, average over 3 takedowns a fight. Pretty much in. I mean, his chin's pretty bad. He has won like his last 4 fights before that, but like one was versus Darren Till, one was versus Kevin Holland on short notice, I think. So like, you know, Dricus though, good striker, exciting striking style, kind of fun striker to watch. Has pretty good power, good win over Darren Till, which is no longer in the UFC.
R.I.P. Darren.
Rip Darren.
It was his choice though.
His choice. Hey, he wants everyone to know it was his choice. So
it was.
We believe you, Darren Till.
Yes, Darren. We love you, Darren.
Anyway, yeah, I definitely think Dricus is gonna win here. I don't necessarily think Dricus is. Maybe Dricus is really good, but I mean, he's kind of not fought a higher level guy for me to be like, wow, this guy's really, really good. So, I mean, I think he's good. I think he'll get the job done, and I do probably think it'll be knockout. And I think even if it's not, he's just gonna beat him up.
Yeah,
he's literally just gonna beat him up, and yeah, you know, we'll see. But I'm also gonna go with Dricus Du Plessis here, Tori, and we agree so far.
Yeah.
Going on to the last fight of the prelims, Cody No Love Garbrandt taking on Trevin 5-Star Jones. In case you don't know, Cody Garbrandt is my favorite fighter ever. I will preface everything I'm going to say by all time, Cody Garbrandt is my favorite fighter. It used to be Chuck Liddell when I was newer to the sport, just because I knew who that was and he's cool and the hair. But it's Cody Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt's my favorite all time. If Izzy gets his belt back, has a good career, it'll probably be Izzy. But right now it's Cody. And
how? Like just like.
Well, he's from Ohio. Number
okay.
one. And the first ever UFC fight I watched was his first fight versus TJ Dillashaw. And that was a great fight, and I wanted him to win in that fight. So he's the Ohio boy. I watched that fight. I've always said this, and I will say this till the day I die or until it is no longer true. When Cody Garbrandt fought Dominic Cruz, in that moment, Cody Garbrandt was the greatest fighter of all time. In that fight, you could have put anybody in that fight, pound for pound, like make them a 135er and put anybody in there, and Cody Garbrandt would have killed him. Everybody said Dominic Cruz is the best. Nobody's going to beat Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz is going on track to be the greatest fighter of all time. He's that untouchable guy. And Cody Garbrandt just came in and just destroyed him, 10-8 him the entire fight. I mean, incredible.
They figured out the moves. Yeah.
He's fire. I just love him. And I said all these great things. I mean, his striking's insane. His wrestling's great. His chin, that's what people are worried about. It's his chin.
Yeah. The chin made of glass.
Yeah, the chin.
Completely.
Right. Cody no chin Garbrandt's what
Yeah.
people like to call
Yeah.
him. So, obviously, I don't know if you heard any of his press conference, but he said there was a lot going on in his life. He was going through a divorce. He was moving. He was worried about his kid. He also moved down to flyweight in his last fight versus Kai Kara France. Kai Kara France, one of the best flyweights in the world, and he moved down to flyweight while going through a divorce, while moving that week and lost. I mean, definitely like not the hardest loss. And then his Rob Font loss before was a decision, right? Now, did he get rocked a couple times? Maybe, but that was a decision. And before that, he won. So he's not necessarily all out of it yet. And there's guys like Andre Arlovski. There's guys like Glover Teixeira who have all came back from people saying they have a bad chin and then they have a good chin. And I mean, Cody's still young. Cody's 31. He's the younger fighter in this fight. You might not even know that. He's a younger fighter. Anyway, in case you don't know who I'm going to pick, I'll talk about Trevin Jones. Trevin Jones, very, very powerful striker. He doesn't always throw a lot, though. He does not throw a lot, but when he does, he lands big. I'm pretty sure he also has a BJJ black belt, but he definitely is just good at BJJ if it's not a black belt. I'm going Cody all day. Look, at the end of the day, Cody is a better fighter. So I'm going to have to pick him because he's the better fighter. He's, a UFC champion. Trevin might come in there, land one punch, and knock Cody out. And that's not going to be good for Cody as a fighter. It's not going to be good for me as a Cody Garbrandt fan. But I genuinely think Cody's mindset is right. I think his life is where he needs to be. I joined his Instagram live like an hour before this, and this is fight week. The fight's in 2 days as of this recording. He was just out on a farm playing with a horse.
Oh, was he on the live or was someone else recording?
No, he was on live. Yeah, he was just on live saying, "Yeah, this is my horse." So and then his kid needed to go pee. And then Cody was like, "Oh, just go pee behind that tree." He's like, "No, Dad, I'm not." And then Cody got mad and kind of hung up. It was interesting. It was an interesting live. I just thought I'd throw that in there. But no, I love Cody Garbrandt. I do think he wins here. I would not bet on this fight, but I am. But I wouldn't advise you guys to. But I'm gonna put a solid unit on Cody Garbrandt. A solid unit by knockout, TKO, submission, or DQ. So.
With someone with a record of 13-9-0, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, 13-9, that's almost a 50-50 record right there. But
and he's from Guam. He's from Guam, which nothing against people from Guam, but just look at how it's spelled, Guam. Guam. Guam.
Guam. It's such a fun thing. Guam.
It's kind of weird.
But, I mean, he's a good fighter. I mean, he has lost to Said Nurmagomedov. Well-rounded. He does switch stances throughout the fight, which might be a little tricky. He has good takedowns, good stand-up. Submission threat is there. Then you have Garbrandt, who's on a 2-fight lose streak since they returned to MMA. He does have a questionable chin. Questionable meaning 90% not there, 10% might still be there. And then he's a fast fighter, explosive and a lot of power for a bantamweight. And he does have a speed and power advantage in this fight. I'm going to go Garbrandt. I'm not confident. I should be confident because he was Cody Garbrandt. He was Cody No Love Garbrandt at one time. But he
was the man that took down Dominic Cruz.
I know.
And only lost to TJ because TJ was juiced up.
I know. But what happened to him?
Is Islam juiced up, by the way, or?
I doubt it. I doubt it.
I mean, that was definitely an IV. Definitely an IV.
No, an IV, but I don't think he's juiced up. I think they're too good at people.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I have a new obsession. I'm gonna announce it really quick. Usman and Umar Nurmagomedov are now in my top 10 favorite fighters.
Oh yeah, why is that?
I have a crush on Usman.
I figured as much.
Yeah. Umar is just cool, but I have a crush on Usman. Anyways, I'm continuing on. But
time to get into the main card?
Yeah. Oh, and the starter of the main card. Crazy. Mr. 3-0. Mr. Stacked Record. We have Bo Nickal facing Jamie Pickett. What is the UFC going to do if Bo Nickal loses this fight?
Book him for another one, probably.
Yeah, but he's already in the video. Anyways,
I
Bo
mean, they.
Nickal, like, I don't know what they're gonna do. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
It's the hype
I
train.
don't know.
It's like the 18-year-old loses again. But Bo Nickal, he's a 4-time All-American champion, a 4-time team national champion, a 3-time individual national champion. Overall, a pretty crappy wrestler. He's all right.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
decent.
there's been better wrestlers
There's
before,
been he's fine. He's literally might be the best wrestler we've ever seen.
right?
It's crazy. His last Dynamite Contender Series. I don't know the name of the specific takedown, but the way he did it, I didn't even notice it was necessarily like he just everything he does. I was
It was
watching some of his old tapes.
flawless. It was
It was
flawless.
flawless. I was watching some of his old competitions, and this man is so strong. An amazing wrestler. He holds a threat to his opponents because they're always scared for the takedown. There's not really much you can say about Bo Nickal right now. Explosive strikes, maybe not the most technical, explosive. But that he doesn't really need that right now because his opponents are so worried about the takedown that they're kind of always cautious looking for it, that he can catch them too. And then you got Pickett, who is 13-8-0. He's an athletic fighter. He does use his combinations well, can freeze up in the octagon. He is good in the clinch, and he does throw knees and hooks to the body when in the clinch. But there's no way he wins this fight unless he can test Bo Nickal's cardio and kind of trying to make him last throughout 3 rounds and see how he does. But this is almost like a give him fight, like the Raul Rosas junior one. I just think first round stoppage. That's what I have highlighted right now because there's not really much to break down about Bo Nickal because we all know wrestler. He's had 3 MMA fights. I mean, what all stoppages in like the first round. So what can you know what I mean? What can you really say? And then Pickett, just we've all seen him. Yeah.
Not that good. I mean, honestly. Yeah, Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal. Like all day. I'll say it one more time. Bo Nickal. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
I guess I'll add a couple things. Number one, you'll like this. Bo Nickal kind of actually sort of reminds me of a Charles, but a really good wrestler. What I mean by that is like he'll wrap up a submission out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
it's very Charles-esque. Like sometimes
Mhm.
Charles will just like be doing like a half takedown and punching you in the face at the same time, and then all of nowhere he
Yeah.
just got you. Right. So like I can definitely see Bo Nickal doing that in this fight. I could see him knocking out Jamie Pickett. I could see him doing a backflip into the splits and then like karate
Submitting
kicking him in
him.
the calf. Like he could literally do whatever he wanted and he's gonna
Yeah.
win this fight. The other thing I will say, I think it'll be an early stoppage as well. But sometimes, and I don't know who I was listening to that I heard this, but I 100% agreed with him because I had witnessed it before. Is sometimes a newer fighter or a guy who's really good versus somebody who's really bad, your coaches will tell you not to finish them. They want to see you. They want to see what you've been working on in camp. They want to see what you're able to do. They say, after that first round, you might go into the second round and say, hey, I want you to work on this, and that. That way you're proving to the world everything. That way you're, doing whatever. However, I will say in the UFC, when that fight of the night bonus is in your eyes and you're a negative 2,000 favorite and your name's Bo Nickal and you're fighting Jamie Pickett, I mean, that's kind of enticing to go out there and put on something, So, I don't know. I know Bo Nickal's gonna win. I would say under negative 2.5 rounds all day. Like for sure. But yeah. Great fight. Next fight, Mateusz Gamrot. How do you say it?
Mateusz. I say Mateusz.
Mateusz.
Mateusz
Gamrot taking on Jalin Turner. Tori. This is another one of those fights that's very, very, very difficult to pick. Looking at Gamrot, really good striker, really, really good striker. Good speed, good footwork, and his wrestling's really good too. He averages 4.66 takedowns a fight. Excuse me. Yeah, he's really good. I really think Gamrot's really good. Jalin, the Tarantula Turner, great striker, really good BJJ. He also is kind of like Charles Oliveira, where he'll kind of wrap up a submission every now and then. But that's more because he's using his length and not necessarily because he's just nice with it, finesse. I would say less finesse, more technique and using your body when you look at Jalin Turner. Overall, I think his striking will definitely help him win this fight if he's gonna win. Keeping that distance well, keeping those Gamrot shots away. Because honestly, he might be the better striker. I don't know if he's the faster striker because his size necessarily. Almost like when people fight Volk, Volk's always a little faster than him. He's smaller, he comes in. But I mean, Jalin Turner is good. I picked Gamrot, right? On my paper. I picked Gamrot earlier in the week, talking to some people. It's hard because I love Jalin Turner. I want Jalin Turner to win. I'm a Jalin Turner fan. I love him. I love his style. And I honestly don't think the UFC's, a lot of people are like, they're pushing him too quick. They're pushing him too quick. I would say for, the people who break it, this is a break it fight for him, right? Like this is a fight that he, a lot of people think he's going to lose and that he can come in and win and say, hey, I'm that guy. I'm Jalin Turner. I want that to happen. I'm still going to stick with my Gamrot pick. Maybe after weigh-ins, I change my mind. I mean, it's not hard to change my mind on this fight. Maybe you say something and I change my mind. But that's how close this fight is for me. I am going to go with Gamrot, though.
I'm going to agree with you. I mean, Gamrot, he's a very well-rounded fighter. He has great wrestling, explosive takedowns, good wrestling defense as well. He uses his sweeps, position changes, and reversals very, very, very well on the mat. My cousin was teaching me about all that stuff, so I'm improving every day. Anyways, very dominant in the top position once he does have it, and he uses it for ground and pound as well. He's a pressure fighter and chain wrestler as well. Good cardio on the feet, holds good power, and is very explosive. Good jab, and then you have Turner, who's on a 5-fight win streak. He is bigger for the weight class, kickboxing style, does have the reach advantage in this fight, and he does use his reach very well. Has good power and speed within his strikes, good accuracy as well, always working through the fight, and every shot he throws has a purpose. Good submission defense, but we will see how good it is in this fight. But he also does hold submission threats. He has an 80% takedown defense, which is good. It's very good. He's very good at, like you said, almost like Charles Oliveira, reversing submissions against opponents when they do go for the takedown. So as they go for the takedown, looking for a choke or a guillotine or something like that. And then just not great defense when it comes to strikes. So I'm going to go for Gamrot. I'm going to go by decision. I just think he's going to hold him down. I think it's almost going to be like not necessarily exactly like it, but a Aldo versus Merab fight. Not completely like that, but just where we're seeing Gamrot constantly go for the takedown. I don't think he should try and stand with him, though. I don't. But yeah. Well, that's my thoughts. I'm excited for this fight, though. I like Gamrot. His last fight was very close with Neal. It wasn't even like people are discounting him. It's not like he dominantly lost that fight. That could have, some people thought that he won. So I'm excited.
No, I'm very excited for that fight. Do I have the next one? Do I have the next one?
Yeah.
Geoff Neal taking on Shavkat Rakhmonov. Geoff Neal, very, very powerful. And I actually wrote, and I'm kind of confused what I meant by this, but I'll try to explain myself. I wrote that he's an angry striker. And what I mean by that is I don't mean he's like, and he strikes, but I'm like, I wanted to say more than he throws with intent. Like when he throws, he seems like he's angry at life.
Yeah.
When he throws. So that's something. He's got good low kicks. And he comes over with a nice overhand, or even a cross. Sometimes he likes to throw with his back arm. Shavkat, one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, Tori, and we finally get to talk about him, and I'm very, very happy about that. And you could say there's homerism in this fight, or you could just say I'm realistic. I mean, Shavkat's finishing everybody. He finishes everybody. Sure. Is Geoff Neal live for a knockout? Yes, but this isn't the heavyweight division necessarily, where just because he hits you once, you're going to get knocked out. Sure, can that happen? Yes, 100%. But not. I don't think Shavkat's got it. Shavkat's got rocked once in his career, and I saw it this week, and I was like, but it was like so early in his career. I think he's got it. I think he's next up. I don't know what this fight does for him. I don't know where it puts him. But I'm going to put him by finish here. I see a lot of people saying Shavkat decision. I'm seeing a lot of Shavkat decision. I don't know where that's coming from. I got Shavkat knockout, TKO, submission in like every single one of my parlays. That's like such a simple parlay piece. This dude is going to win by a finish. 100%. This fight will not go the distance. And I got Shavkat destroying my boy Geoff.
Neal.
Geoff.
Geoff, you know what would be a good fight? Is when he loses, is Geoff Neal versus Neil Magny. Anyways,
That
so you
might
have
actually be a decent fight.
yeah, they're
Huh?
both kind of in the same position when he loses.
Matchmaker Habrel.
Yeah. Listen to me, guys. I'm just kidding. You never know. MMA is a sport, but he's definitely gonna lose. Anyways. So we have 14, 15, 4, and who is Neal? I forgot about that his last fight is when he knocked out Vicente Luque. That was a sad moment. Very sad moment for me because I love Vicente Luque. He has good cardio. He does get better as the fight goes on, so he does usually tend to give up the first round. Very long. He always uses his reach to his advantage, uses his lead jab as well. Not too powerful. Good wrestling, not the most technical, but good. Uses knees within the clinch well. Can be a chain wrestler. He's not going to want to be a chain wrestler against this guy, though. Usually gives up the first round, as I said before. So you also you can't start off slow with guys like Hamza, with guys like Shavkat. You can't. There's no room for error in these fights. You have Shavkat, who is his last win was the submission against Neal Magny. He's an orthodox fighter, Russian style wrestling and sambo, great accuracy on the feet, moves in and out, is light on his feet, always trying to get inside the pocket because he's looking for the takedown, throws that great spinning kick, throws a variety of takedowns. You'll see him do some like kind of judo throws like in trips and drag downs, and yeah, he's amazing at controlling his opponents. He has good pressure and is very strong. Very strong. I just want to see him versus Hamzat. That's all. So hopefully if he wins this, that can happen.
Hey, is Colby Covington still alive?
Probably not.
You can always get it from Colby. I just didn't know if he was still alive or not. And I'm not a Colby fan necessarily, but he probably has my favorite style of fighter ever. So like that makes me kind of like watching him fight because I just enjoy guys who have crazy cardio, who will brawl and then they just wrestle.
Yeah.
I would like to see that fight, but I feel like everybody's dodging Colby, honestly. So
no, I don't. Okay, so this is what I heard really quick is that he's suing Jorge Masvidal, right?
Facts.
For the punch. And so the thing is he's suing him because he's claiming that he has brain damage or like head damage, and you can't fight if you're in the middle of a lawsuit that's claiming you have brain damage. I think they're waiting for that to be finished. That's what I've heard on like some accounts, but that makes sense.
That does make sense. That makes
sense. The two lovely.
But that'd be a good fight for Shavkat too.
Two lovely friends behind me.
Yeah, I just don't know what's going on with Hamzat, bro.
Hamzat? Is he moving up or is he staying at 170?
That's what I'm saying. Because if he's staying, then he can get it from Shavkat. I said that a long time ago.
Yeah.
I commented that on one of your TikToks like a long time ago.
Really? Yeah. That's funny.
I don't know what the TikTok was, but I'm pretty sure it was like, what does Hamzat do next? I'm pretty sure I said Shavkat. But yes, definitely could get it. Yeah, definitely could get it.
Yeah. Alrighty. On to the co. Oh, I'm so sorry. Anyways, my cord just came unplugged for a second. On to the co-main event of the evening. We have Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso. I didn't understand this fight that much, to be honest.
It's like
I thought it was gonna go to Ferro.
I just think Alexa Grasso deserved it, but like maybe were there other fights to be made? Maybe, but like she's on a 4-fight win streak. Her last win was over Vivi when Vivi was ranked higher.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but anyway, like you have Shevchenko, Valentina. We all know who this woman is. She's the GOAT of the flyweight division. She is an unstoppable being until her last fight, which I thought she lost.
Same.
But I still like you, Valentina. I still love you. I love her mindset. She has amazing fight IQ. She's equally good everywhere. I literally have here. I love her mindset. She's a great counter striker, uses her distance very well. Good in the clinch, can throw trips and throws to the ground. Good kicks and timing. Good wrestling as well. Good striking. She reminds me of the female Alexander Volkanovski. Just good everywhere. Solid everywhere. Knows what to do. Nowhere is a severe threat for her on the ground. Like on the ground, she knows what to do. On the feet, she knows what to do. She uses her range. She moves in and out very well. Her kicks are crazy. And I love that whenever she throws, she goes, ah, ah, ah. Like you always hear like all the time. Then you have Grasso, who's 15-3-0. She's on 4-fight win streak. She's a very solid boxer, good cardio, likes to strike at a distance, has improved wrestling. She should stay at a boxing range within this fight. Throws solid combinations. She does stay very active throughout the fight, and she does need to stay out of the clinch with Valentina. But I do want Grasso to win because like I'm Mexican, like she, like she's Mexican, but like I don't think Valentina's there yet. I think she's still reigning at the top, and I'm going Valentina. I'm gonna go by decision. That's what's the safest option. For me with Valentina, I'm pretty confident though in my decision. I do not think she's of the same caliber.
I mean, sure. Has there been a lot of female upsets recently? Yeah. And has Valentina lost since 2017, which, by the way, was to Amanda Nunes? Nope, hasn't lost. I agree. Probably did lose her last fight versus Talia Santos. I'll maybe watch that tomorrow if I'm bored. Defended her title 7 times. I mean, she's great. You know, people call Mark Coleman the godfather of ground and pound. I would say Valentina Shevchenko is the godmother of ground and pound. I mean, she get you on the ground and just ground and pound. And it's awesome to see from Valentina Shevchenko. And hey, Alexa Grasso, big volume striker. You had a really good breakdown. 4-fight win streak. I think Valentina is better on every category. I really wanted to pick Valentina decision, but honestly, in a 5-round fight with Alexa Grasso, I can see Valentina finishing her. I know it's a female fight. You don't see the finish as much. Maybe it's because I got some bets having Valentina Shevchenko by finish. But I made those because I see it happening. I can genuinely see it happening. Like I said, she is kind of that godmother of ground and pound. She also has submissions in her bag too. So I like the bullet here to get it done. I just like her overall. She's been training at Tiger Muay Thai. So her striking is just going to be elite. But yeah, she's got 8 wins by knockout, 7 wins by submission. She's
a bad woman. Like, she is you do not want to be caught in the street pissing her off. That girl is like an assassin. She's like a silent assassin. That's what she reminds me of. Like, I feel like she could get away with murder. Just get away with it. Like, that's the kind of vibes I get.
She is the bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, love that fight. On to the main event of the evening for the heavyweight championship. We got Ciryl Gane.
Did you just say Ciryl?
Yeah, I heard somebody today say Ciryl Gane, and I just thought it was funny. But Ciryl Gane taking on Jon Bones Jones, right? I mean, this fight's gonna be incredible. Honestly, my mind has changed so much this week since I originally made my notes on Monday for this fight. So many things have changed my mind. Jones, arguably greatest fighter of all time, will be the greatest fighter of all time if he wins this fight. Youngest to win the belt, most title defenses. I mean, looks dominant versus everybody. His last few fights in the UFC, the argument's been made, and I agree on the side of, his motivation wasn't there. Some people just want to say, hey, maybe he's just getting old and starting to lose. That's a solid point too.
And he was also 3 years younger then too. So
yeah, I definitely think it was more so losing motivation. I mean, we saw how many fighters did we see lose that were so good last year, or just in the past few couple years, that lose that motivation. I guess I'm not going to get into his technicality necessarily, but I'll say his fighter IQ. That's what makes him the GOAT. His fighting IQ is insane. How smart he is insane. His wrestling's real. I mean, everything about him is really good. Ciryl Gane, most technical heavyweight of all time, in my opinion. There's nobody more technical than him. His striking is really, really good. His chin isn't always the strongest. I mean, we saw it crack first tie. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's 1-1 right now, so like he in that win being a close fight versus Tai Tuivasa, very good fight. I think Jon Jones wins. I really do. Earlier in the week, I was a little more worried about things like ring rust and stuff like this, but it honestly comes down to why is Jon Jones fighting versus why is Ciryl Gane fighting. And I said this before Jon Jones said it. But Ciryl Gane, he's just fighting to get on the map. He's fighting for a belt, right? He's fighting for a belt, maybe fighting to be pound for pound, right? Jon Jones is fighting to be the undisputed greatest fighter of all time. He's back. He's been on this skid watching from the bleachers, and he's like, I want to come back. He's been training for about a year. He did definitely look chubby recently. And you look at a guy like Ciryl Gane who's getting taken down by Francis, and people want to say, well, he wasn't expecting to get taken down by Francis. He'll be ready for that versus Jon Jones. And while I hope that's true because I am a Ciryl Gane fan, the one thing I'll say though is he was exhausted. That was the thing. He got taken down by Francis Ngannou. Fine, he wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Fine, but that wrestling exhausted him. That's why he lost the fight. I mean, if he would have just been able to strike a little bit in round 3 and 4 and 5, I mean, he would have easily won with the wrestling. He got up, strikes a little, he wins that fight, but he was tired. Jon Jones, I've never seen him get tired. I've never seen him get tired. I mean, I've seen the dude go to 5-round wars and obviously be tired, but not like I've seen Ciryl Gane. I don't know. I really do like Jon Jones here. I know it's super, super close. I know, if anybody can do it, it's Ciryl Gane. Because it's almost just like he is a light heavyweight. Jon Jones said he was really light right now, but the pictures compared to him and Ciryl make them look very, very different.
John, you look pudgy. Yeah, man, dude. you look pudgy. You got a little flab on the. You got a little flab on the belly.
Jon Jones is definitely gonna weigh in heavier, I think, than Ciryl Gane. But I don't know. I mean, he's proven that he wants to be the best. I also said this, Tori, before I let you go. I could see this fight going to a draw, and I don't necessarily predict that too often. But I
not put that out in the air. I see
this fight going to decision. I do see it going the distance. Jon Jones isn't a finisher. Ciryl Gane is definitely not a finisher by any means. So I see a lot of wrestling, a lot of back and forth striking. I was talking about starting low, laying high. Well, both of these guys have incredible low leg kicks. Yeah. And then you look at a guy like Ciryl Gane who has really good kicks to the body. Those body kicks have really hurt a lot of his opponents. And you look at a guy like Jon Jones who has that side kick, that side stomp to the chest. So I can easily see both guys starting at the legs and just moving up and then eventually wrestling and it being kind of a decision. But it's so close that I'm like, it could be a draw. And then that would actually make sense because we all know Jon Jones isn't fighting 8 fights. I would love to see it. I don't think he is. But if that happens, you would get Jon Jones, Ciryl Gane 2, Jon Jones, Stipe, and then maybe he dips.
I wish he was fighting Francis.
Honestly, though, does Francis maybe come back and re-sign a contract? Apparently that, the terms with him in UFC, it's not a burnt bridge necessarily. I don't think there's been rumors, will Francis be there? I don't think he's going to be there. If he is, then I don't ever see him coming back to UFC. I feel like that's kind of like a spit in the face at UFC for him to come watch that fight. But
I thought that'd be like, I'm gonna come back. Like
maybe too. But I mean, honestly, I could see. So let's say Jon Jones kills Ciryl Gane. Say he sweeps the floor with Stipe. Francis, I get you're obsessed with the money. You just want to see green. But I mean, dude, if you really care about fighting, bro, I'd fight that man for free to prove I'm the best. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like go back in there. So no, I am gonna go with Jon Jones. Earlier in the week, I was not as confident because I do really like the Ciryl Gane. But I'm not I've never watched Jon Jones fight live. This will be my first time ever. I've never seen him fight live. I've watched every single one of his fights staying near, but I've never seen him fight live. So I'm not like even a crazy Jon Jones fan. I'm not one that's crazy about greatness. I'm not the biggest Khabib fan either. It's just I understand that he's really good, and I think he gets it done, Tori.
Yeah. This was a really tough fight for me to pick because I'm a really big fan of Ciryl Gane. It depends. He's been gone for 3 years. It's really, really, really going to depend. I don't see a finish happening throughout this fight. The biggest outcome I can see that I am most confident of happening is just Jon Jones chain wrestling, going for the takedown, holding him there. I don't see him necessarily beating him with strikes because I think Ciryl Gane is that technical. He does move like a heavyweight. But the thing is, Jon Jones, I don't see him rocking Ciryl Gane either. Not like because compared to Tai Tuivasa and Jon Jones' power, it's not the same. You've heard a numerous amount of opponents say that Jon Jones doesn't hold a lot of power. It's just he's so smart inside the octagon. He knows how to move. He knows where to get you. Blah blah. But I don't see him knocking out. I don't see him rocking him. The biggest way I can see Jon Jones winning is by the wrestling, and I do think that I do think that is like the Francis thing is that he just wasn't expecting it. Ciryl Gane. I honestly just think he simply
Nobody
it
was.
came out
Nobody.
of nowhere. Yeah, I remember I was watching that fight. I saw Francis do that slam where he lifted him over his shoulder. And I was like, no way, Francis Nurmagomedov making a comeback. It was crazy, but with the knee pads too, he looked like a geek. It was awesome. But
Yeah.
also in my brain, I just think when Francis Ngannou takes a hold of you, you're not. He's so. This is also I could be completely. He's just so strong. He could be a bad wrestler, and I feel like he could just hold you.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
in my mind, he's still not human.
Well,
So I
even
still
that though, but like just a wrestling thing in general, it's always been said that heavyweight matches, if you can be the guy to get on top, you'll probably win, and not even because you're stronger, but because you guys are fat. It's very hard when you're fat and you have another very fat guy to get off of you. You're fat, you're trying to get yourself up. They're fat, they're on top of you. I mean, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. And imagine Francis isn't even fat. He's just muscle, just
right.
Big thing of rock, like a granite. And so yeah, that's why I don't blame him for that fight. But he looked good in that fight. But he also showed the dog, and I think he should. I don't know. This fight is so hard for me to pick. It's so because I'm not a fan of Jon Jones in the slightest, and we've all know that. He's a great fighter. He can be considered one of the great. Like he can be considered the greatest of all time. I have like an alternate opinion on it just because of the things he's done, but I am gonna go Jon Jones on this fight. I'm not even completely confident though. I can also see. This is gonna sound. I can't see him getting finished. I can see Jon Jones getting finished because he's been gone for so long.
On the feet.
On the feet, I can see him getting finished. Yeah, because during Reyes, he was getting rocked. He looked tired. He came back and barely won, but barely won those last 2 rounds. And this fight is so hard for me to choose. It's so hard. Just because it's such a new. The thing is it's not like it's going from like featherweight to lightweight. No, you're gaining 30-40 pounds and you're fighting guys that are 30-40 pounds heavier than you. He's never felt this type of power in his life. He hasn't, and he could say he's been training, not when you're fighting a guy like Ciryl Gane.
I mean, speaking of power though, we've always the one critique of Jon Jones, besides minus his last 3 fights and his peak of his career, his critique was he's not powerful enough. Where at heavyweight, man, he might have a lot more power than we've seen before. He like one of those spinning elbows to the head that used to, rock up somebody but not knock you out, might knock you out at heavyweight.
Yeah, no, that is very true. I hope nothing shady happens during this fight. But I can see Jon Jones. Yeah, I definitely can see him. He is the greatest of all time. He's one of the greatest of all time inside the octagon. And it's hurting my head just thinking because it's been so long, it just feels weird. It feels like I'm backtracking, like trying to kind of like break it down. But I'm just so curious to see how he does. But I think his key is going to be his wrestling. I definitely do. But he could want to not make a wrestling match, but he's been talking about wrestling. So I think he's definitely just going to hold him down. And I think, yeah, I don't see a finish happening.
The thing is,
like I said,
I don't see a finish happening either. I 100% agree.
It
Jon
could,
Jones' decision
kind of happen, but that's what I'm saying. I could see Gane knocking him out if there were, just because of the power difference, and that would be it.
Yeah, I would say if Jon Jones is dominating him on the ground, he won't wrestle him for 5 rounds. If he's dominating him on the ground and it's round 3 and he's dominated him the past round and a half, then he will ground and pound finish him, right? Like it'll be a TKO. I don't know. I mean, you got to think Ciryl Gane, number one, you got to think he'll be pretty hard to take down. You want to think he's been training. You want to think he'll be the faster fighter.
He also does have some submission wins.
Yeah, you're also going to want to think that he'll do all right on the ground and that he'll be able to get up. But you never know with Jon Jones. He could be super dominant, come in round 2 or 3 and just ground and pound you, right? So
yeah, you also don't know where Jon Jones can take the fight because he can take it anywhere and be successful and be better than you. Yeah. He's out-grappled the best grapplers. He's outstruck the best strikers. You don't know where he's going to take it. So I'm actually very curious as to what he's going to do within this fight, or if he's going to be timid. That's something no one's really talked about, is him being kind of timid and kind of being like the Knight guy that threw 3 strikes that whole fight that I picked to win the fight, but got cut from the UFC after 2 weeks ago. William Knight, the GOAT. What if he has one of those moments what if we have like a Lewis versus Francis fight again,
Lewis versus anybody fight in the past
yeah,
year.
him not throwing anything. No, I'm saying him just being timid and just kind of,
Yeah.
like I can see that happening the first round or two, or him being over. There's just so many questions because he's been gone for so long and the game has changed. It's changed. These are mixed martial artists now. These aren't just one-dimensional people. He's fighting mixed martial artists in the heavyweight division.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean he's got one of the best with Ciryl gone. So it'll definitely be a fun fight, Tori. We agreed on every single fight. So we're either gonna sound really smart or really stupid come, next week's podcast. But man, UFC 285, very, very, very exciting. Do you have any last words regarding this card?
Good luck to everyone there. It's gonna be such an awesome card. I cannot wait, and I cannot wait to see. Oh wait, what song is he picking for his
Jon
walkout?
Jones?
If he does, I'm coming home. I'm gonna cringe. I'm sorry.
I'll be so happy.
I'm gonna be like, come on, like. I'm sorry.
I guess I'm kind of a corn.
I'm
kind of a cornball, so I'll love it. I'll love it. I'm not gonna lie.
You should walk out to the New Mexico national anthem.
Yeah, I think he will.
I said New Mexico national anthem. I meant that's not New Mexico's a state, not a nation. Oh my god. Anyways.
Yeah, facts. Shout out Cody Garbrandt. Cody, one day I'm gonna interview you. I have many connections to you, and one day you'll actually respond and you'll do the interview. So
yeah,
I love you. I know you're no love, but I love you, Cody, and I want you to win for the sake of my mental health. Mainly, number one, I can't afford to see Israel lose and then you lose. That's gonna hurt me a lot. Okay, that's real. I can't take that. So I want you to win, Cody. And yeah, I'm excited to see the return of Jon Jones. Like, I'm very excited for that. Shout out Valentina Shevchenko. Yeah, very excited for this card. That's gonna do it for UFC 285 breakdown and predictions on the Not Your Everyday MMA podcast. Make sure to check us out on Instagram, link in bio, Not Your Everyday MMA. I've been posting some pretty cool content on there. I will say we're doing a good job. I hope you guys have been enjoying that if you've been there. And there's a lot of interactive stuff, especially pay-per-view time too. So you'll want to follow us there. And if you're a audio-only listener, we appreciate you. If you're here on YouTube watching our faces, please hit that subscribe button. We've gained quite a bit of subscribers while being pretty interactive. So we appreciate you guys, watching those older videos and supporting. Hopefully you enjoy the new ones and you stick around a little longer. But that is going to do it for episode 21 of the Not Your Everyday MMA podcast. As always, my name's Alex Henry, and I was with
Tori Haverhill. Thanks, guys.
Signing off.